What is going on YouTube and Spotify? This is the Just BSN podcast. And today we have episode 109. And as you can see from the title, well, it may be changed, but the current title right now is Fire Everybody Now. And that's for good reason. Because we don't have good news about the Cleveland Browns. They are a bottomless pit of hell. And there is no saving this current team right now. The fire sale needs to begin. But before we get diving into that, because I feel like we should start off with something a little more positive. We'll start with the Cavs. So, Andrew, how are we feeling after everything this week? Obviously we came off a fresh loss against the Heat, but it was a really, really fun game to watch until literally the very end. So it was at least entertaining in a sense.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal. It's probably one of the best games. It's probably one of the games of the year so far. Like just the way that
Yeah.
both teams went back and forth, and it was a very very enjoyable watch. But like at least there is some kind of positive, and that
Yeah.
is the Cleveland Cavaliers because we know we're not going to get much from the Browns, and obviously we already know what Ohio State's going to be. So there's not
Yeah.
not much that needs to be talked about there because we already know what they are. But with the Cavs, at least there's some positive news. Yeah, last night wasn't, an enjoyable end, but it sure was a fun game to watch, especially that game tying shot from Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, that was pretty freaking awesome. That was pretty sick.
Except that he messed up the inbound and he lost Andrew Wiggins in the back and kind of gave up that dunk. But you know what? The shot was a good shot, but his own defense failed him at the end afterwards.
It probably would have gone better had had we had Atkinson to kind of help us sort of navigate that, but he kind of got thrown out of the game after a very unfair free throw disparity in that game. He
Oh
he
god, yeah.
even he even said there was a point where it was 20-2 Miami in terms of free throws,
Yeah.
and that's asinine to me. Like that is just abysmal that you can go out there and you can leave a disparity that large and feel okay about it. Like to me,
Mhm.
that's not good work out of them at all. And he was definitely justified in him sort of freaking out. But it did suck because it did kind of cost us, I think, at the end, the end a little bit. But it's also what the 11th or 12th game of the year, so like there's nothing really to like actually worry about. It's just one of them games. I was like, oh man, like that's crazy. Like that, that could have gone either way. And hey, man, I'm just glad that the team at least fights and they score. So they're not having problems on offense. It's just they got to clean up some defensive stuff, which, with the new guys that they have and just having to deal with different lineups, like they haven't really been able to set their own lineup for more than a few games. And as I get ready to talk about that, Garland re-aggravated the toe, last night during the game. So we don't know his current status beyond tomorrow. He's out, and I expect him to be out for probably a few weeks to even a month, if not longer. And I mean, why not? I know there was quite a few people that kept trying to complain about like, oh, why on earth would you try to rush him back? And it's like nobody rushed him back. Like he was cleared like 10 times over from doctors, from the coaches. He was ahead of schedule in a lot of ways. And if he could play, let the kid play. And he looked good when he was playing. Like his first game, he was a little slow, but the next game he scored like 17 points automatically. So it's like he still has it, and his impact on the game, and I think his impact in being able to play with guys like Mobley, I think are so positive that you can't help but just kind of have to deal with it right now. Because once you do get him back and once he's able to come back in full, Garland is going to help us win a lot of basketball games. And when this team was hot, it was when Garland had the most confidence out of anybody on the floor, and that's the Garland that you need. So you just kind of gotta sort of weather, weather the storm, but I don't think it's going to be as severe. I'm hoping for that. I'm sure we'll probably get news on that tomorrow, before the game at some point. Because I assume they're going to come back they probably come back to Cleveland by now, for his MRI, and I'm assuming that the PR team is getting ready to put that out tomorrow. So I would expect news on that. But yeah, man, what was your take on? I don't know, sort of the back and forth of fans saying, "Oh, he came back too early," because again, like he was cleared tenfold.
Mhm.
If he can play, let the kid play. Don't let him just sit out and do nothing. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. Like, if he was cleared, he was cleared. Like, what more do you want? Like, if any, we're always told to listen to our doctors, and my doctor said, "Hey, you're cleared to play. Like, go out there and play." Like, I'm gonna go out there and play.
Yeah,
Like, of course, you're always gonna risk re-injury. That's always a thing when you come back from injuries, is risking re-injury. And with a toe, it's so easy to re-injure your toe because you're always on it. You're
yeah,
always running, you're always jumping, you're always on it. So of course he's going to re-aggravate it at some point, whether it
yeah,
was last night, whether it was tomorrow, whether it was next week from now. Like there's always a high possibility, especially with a toe or a foot injury. So for the people saying, "Oh, he came back too soon," there was no too soon. He came back when the timing was right. He came back when he himself felt good because again, he knows his body. We all know our own bodies. He felt good. He was cleared to play. He came out and he played. And Kevin or not Kevin, the coaching staff said, "Listen, we're gonna put him on games restrictions. So like if he played last night, he wasn't gonna play tomorrow.
yeah.
Like Donovan Mitchell's out tomorrow. A couple of guys are out tomorrow.
It's gonna be the
So
G League squad tomorrow, but
It's
basically.
it's going to be the G League squad tomorrow because guess what? Guys are going to use rest. Guys are
Mhm.
going to take some because this is a team that is kind of injury prone. So guys like Mitchell, you want to keep safe, you want to keep healthy. Same with Mobley, same with Allen. You need the same with Larry Nance. These are guys you want to keep healthy. I mean, Lonzo Ball's probably not going to play tomorrow. He might, but there's a chance he gets rest because you want to keep him healthy after the injury. He had that kept him out for nearly 2 years. Um, there, it's just he just happened to get re-injured. That's just what it is.
Yeah,
And as former athletes ourselves, we know that nobody's 100% when they're playing.
yeah,
Like nobody's 100. When you're an athlete, you know that everyone on that field, no one's 100%. Like once you get injuries, they linger and stay around forever, man. Like they don't go away. If you had a broken back, you're surely gonna get some back pain in your whole life. If you have a JOK, that boy's gonna have some neck pain for the rest of his life.
yeah.
So it's just one of those things where nobody's 100%, and you just come back when you feel good. He felt good. He came back and he got re-injured. I mean, he was able to play a few games before it happened, but you just wait for the news to come out and you hope it's positive news that he doesn't stay out for the rest of the year and come back
Right.
into the house. That's all you can
Yeah.
hope for.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you certainly hope for like no tearing of any sort
Mhm.
of tendons or ligaments or anything like that. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think it was just more of like you know, a sort of stretching, or
Mhm.
he could have landed on it weirdly. I think he needs better shoes. His freaking New Balance shoes, they're not. I don't love those shoes as basketball shoes. I think they make crappy basketball shoes nowadays.
Get some
Like
Skechers, man. Skechers are good shoes. They're
something
soft.
like, dude, like help yourself out. Like, understand that like you need some legit shoes to play at your caliber level. And yeah, man, you just hope for it. But yeah, I mean, it's like, it's, as you said, as athletes, once you do one thing, like, for example, I don't know how many times I've rolled my ankle and
Oh yeah.
and sprained it really, really good, but sometimes it just it happens, and then it hurts for a week or two, You just kind of work through it, and then you're back at it. Whatever I did to my left shoulder back in my senior year, I don't know if it was a AC joint. I don't know if it was a dislocation. I don't know. I never got it checked out. But still to this day, like even when I go to the gym and I do flies, I can feel it every single time. It's just one of them things that like even when you get it fixed, you're still going to always feel it, and you're always going to be prone to potentially injuring it again. And as long as it's not a severe tear, like as long as it's not like Joe Burrow level type tear where it's like a grade 3, it's snapped in half, and you need 6 to 8 weeks to even get back to doing anything. Then it should be all right. But for now, I think he'll be okay. And at the end of the day, Donovan is kind of holding down the fort, and they just need to continue to hone in on again, get Mobley the rock and like let him work, like let him get comfortable in spots. I would really, and I think I've already said this before. Mobley has to get himself into a spot where he can consistently hit like mid-range jumpers. Don't worry about shooting threes all the time. Like, sure, if you want to spot up at the top of the key like once or twice during a game, that's fine. But I don't want you starting a game 0 of 2 in the first quarter from 3 because you're trying to chuck them up and trying to, do what everybody else does. It's like, dude, you're not Kevin Durant. It's okay. Dude, make your own game. Like put yourself into a position where you are going to succeed 100% of the time. That's what I need Mobley to do. And that's what I need this Cavs team to encourage Mobley to do, because he has the potential to do it. We all know what he's capable of. Like that dude can drop 30, 40 points at any time. He just hasn't been able to really do that with the amount of talent that he is surrounded with. So you almost have to wonder too, like, is there going to be some sort of sacrifices that have to happen for other teammates in order to get him to be in that, in that spot? We will never know, but we still have guys that are playing some good ball. Sam Merrill is shooting the ball lights out. Listen, he started the game last night, I think 0 of 5 from 3. Came back in the fourth quarter and shot like 4 straight and just sunk every single one. Jalen Tyson has been a outstanding kid to go back from like starting some games to coming off the bench. He's shooting the ball well. He defends well. He can rebound. He can assist. Like he kind of does everything that you wanted Okoro to do the last few seasons. He fills that role automatically. All right, great. And you still have Lonzo Ball, who although isn't really scoring the rocket as much, he's facilitating it and keeping the next unit rolling. Where you can actually give Donovan and Garland minutes to stay back and chill. That's a nice thing to have that we didn't really have with Jerome. Like as good of a scorer as Jerome was at times, Lonzo has a much bigger bag, and I think he elevates the offense in that way. And also, he's incredible on defense. Like he will pickpocket anybody, dude. He always is in the right spot. He's just smart. He's a good basketball player.
Yeah.
So again, like things are gonna move around a little bit. Like the Cavs aren't going to look super dominant like they did last year. And I don't think they want to be. I honestly almost feel like they don't want to show their full hand, a month into the season. Like when they started off 16-0, everybody knew like, oh shit, like this team's good. Like this team has it. Where it's like the Cavs now, they're like, everybody knows how good we can be, but it doesn't matter what we do in the season. It just matters, hey, do you get a top 4 spot? And hey, do you take advantage of teams this year that have nothing in the tank? Like you should be able to get over Boston. You should be able to get over Indiana. The Knicks are still in a weird sort of inconsistent spot. The Bucks are what they are. There's just a lot of teams that are in this like middle stage, and then the Cavs have a really good chance to elevate themselves and put themselves in a position to make a deep run So I think they're just worried about, hey, what can we do every game to get better as a unit? What do we need to work on? And that's what they're going to use the season to be. And once they get to the playoffs, it's not going to matter. And the best example that I can even come up with this is last year, Indiana started horribly. I don't know if you recall that.
Yeah,
They started off like
they were
as one of
bad.
the worst teams in the East at one point, and they slowly trickled in. They started to make their runs, started to find themselves, and they hit their stride at the right time. And had they not had injuries after they went through the playoffs and got lucky with teams getting injured, their bug finally hit them and it sunk them. And OKC was just destined to win that at that point. So, you know, teams can get hot whenever, man. And it's not exactly like baseball, but it is one of those sports where again you just got to be hot at the right time and just make the playoffs at the right time. And I don't know, it's all about timing and it's all about belief in your team. And so as long as the Cavs make the playoffs, I don't give a damn who they play. It's on site this year. So the Cavs are going to continue to work on their stuff. I'm not worried at all. And anybody that does worry, I feel like you just haven't watched the Cavs enough to like understand how this team sort of operates. So I don't know. What's your thoughts on just the early take of the season so far and just where things are at?
I think the one thing that I do like to see is that Kenny Atkinson is just kind of playing different rotations and just seeing like what works and what doesn't work. And I think that's a big thing he missed out on doing last year
Yeah.
was that he kept everything the same. I think this year he's trying to figure some things out, like what kind of lines work. Like there's times where Jalen Tyson starts on the bench and maybe Lonzo starts, or there's times where Tyson starts and Lonzo's on the bench, and then who knows, maybe both are benched and they start Sam Merrill, and they're he's doing a bunch of like different combinations.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that because you're kind of seeing what works and what fits best. And towards the middle of the year, you could be like, okay, this is the for sure starting five. Okay, this is the for sure first people off the bench. And what it does is that it keeps the game flowing in your favor. It keeps the game, in your hands when you do stuff like that. So I like what you said earlier that instead of trying to go 16-0 to start the year and show everyone that you're dominant, like everyone knows how good the Cavs are. I think what the Cavs are doing is they're sitting there like, we don't care much about the regular season. We're going to show out later on in the year and in the playoffs. What we're going to do now is we're just going to focus on rotations. We're going to focus on different things, see what works, what doesn't work. We're going to get guys a bunch of rest because, we don't want any injuries to last long term. And that could affect us when it comes to playoff time. And I like what Kenny's doing a lot this year. And that's just, like you said, is not showing his cards too soon.
Yeah.
It's playing around with the rotations. It's just seeing what you have and seeing if you really need to make moves towards the deadline or if you need to do anything after the All-Star break or whatever. Like you're just sitting there like, okay, cool. We got what we need. I like what we see with these rotations. We're cool. And again, it's just a good feeling to have a coach who kind of knows what he's doing and knows how to run a team. And the one thing I like about Atkinson that I hate about, a guy like Kevin Stefanski is that he's not afraid to get angry. He's not afraid to call guys out. He's not afraid to say what's real. Like you're not going to get, these cryptic messages of, well, is Donovan going to play? He's just going to tell you, no, he's not playing.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. We're not sitting there like waiting until like 5 minutes before game time. Like, oh yeah, by the way, Donovan wasn't going to play. And it's like, okay, cool. Thanks for the heads up. He let us know last night after the game. Yeah, these guys aren't playing. Like
The DTR
moments.
fiasco.
Yeah,
I'll never forget that crap. He
dude,
fucking he threw out DTR 45 minutes before the game
kickoff.
against the Ravens, and he just like, well, I guess try it, see what happens, man.
Dude, I felt that was like one of the times I felt really bad for DTR because it was like, dude,
Yeah, definitely.
if I was a young quarterback like that and your ass gets thrown to the wolves 45 minutes before kickoff, I'd be like, dude, what the hell? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, that was something else. But yeah, I mean, it's nice that you just have a straight shooter with Kenny,
Yeah.
and I actually really do think that he does have like a really good eye for talent, and he has a really good eye
Mhm.
for development, and I just think he's a good coach.
He
I
knows what he
think
wants.
I definitely think that he is better than JB was for this team because
Hmm.
I think JV
Mhm.
was still treating that, that cast team like they were kids. And it's like, no, like these guys are, legit all like all-star level players. And like you got to start treating them with a little more respect and being able to like, you know, play the games the way that they should be playing them. And I think he was just stuck in that whole young team mindset, and I think that's why he kind of works a little better in Detroit. And as soon as he went there, I was like, yeah, man, I think that's probably a great place for him to be. So it certainly makes sense. So yeah, man, I'm really happy that we just have again just a straight shooter, just a very honest guy in Kenny, and I think the whole team enjoys him a lot. You don't hear anything bad coming out of the locker room at all for him, and that's good to see because with JB you had it all the time. If they went on losing streaks, you were hearing Jared Allen storming out of the locker room and not wanting to talk to media, after the game and just, stuff like that. Like you don't hear about any of that when it comes to Kenny. So it's certainly a positive. I still definitely think this team is going to be a top 3 team in the East at the very least. Um, but as long as they get like a top 4 or even top 5, run, I think that's still more than fine. And I think it'll still do exactly what they need to do. And all that matters is just getting into the playoffs. Everything else is just kind of, I don't know. It's just kind of,
Yeah.
it's just what it is. It's like when we had LeBron, um, it was just as long as you made it, you always had a chance. And this team hasn't proven that part yet because they haven't gotten out of uh, out of round 2. But they're still a good team. They're going to be fun, and again, it's a nice break away from this awful Browns team, which we might as well get into that right now and sort of segue into it. Get it over with because
I don't want
we
to.
have to. We have to at this point because um, if you guys follow us on TikTok, I do tend to post on there a good bit. Um, and I've been a little vocal about my disdain for overall just what things are looking like right now. Stefanski is just I think he's lost his voice. I think he's lost his touch. I think none of those guys in that room truly believe him, but I think they can't afford to not say that they don't because that'll just make them look bad. But I'm almost convinced that Stefanski would rather get fired than ever put Shador out there on the field because Dylan Gabriel looks lost every single game. And the fact that this freaking kid is somehow in the running for rookie of the week this week is the most hilarious part of this entire issue going on in Cleveland. Because statistically, Gabriel didn't look that bad. But when you watched the game and you saw even some of his completions were terrible. And
Hmm.
you and I joked about his touchdown to Jerry Judy. It looked like a punt. It looked
Hmm.
like a nuke just going,
That thing hung up there forever.
dude. I thought for sure it was going to get picked. Like
I
I,
did
I I
too.
was so sure. I was like, oh, here we go. either a pick in the end zone or it was just going to sail out of the corner of the end
Yeah.
zone. And kudos to Jerry Jeudy for actually making a play on the ball and scoring there. And for his sake, I think Jerry Jeudy really needed that. I think he needed a game like that to sort of get his own personal confidence back up. But Dylan is not doing anybody any favors. I mean, the screen pass to Corley that he sailed over his head was probably the worst one for me, besides that fourth down play. Because Corley had daylight. There was one dude to beat on the Jets, and there were two Browns guys on that one guy. He had daylight. He literally was going to do what Brees Hall did to us later on in the game and just took it to the house. Because every time Corley gets the rock, he gets a first down at the very least.
Yeah, he's
every
good.
single time he does a sweep play, it's automatic for first down with him. He's been great at that, and it's just the fact that this team, like, it doesn't matter who's calling plays, doesn't matter what the plan is. As long as you have Dylan Gabriel in, the offense isn't going to move a whole lot, and the team knows, hey, just defend the run and force them to make Dylan Gabriel throw it 40 times because they're going to lose if they have to do that. And that's generally speaking what happens. Thank God he didn't get that one ball picked near the red zone, because that one was for sure going to get picked.
No, and I'm glad you brought up the Corley play, because did you see what Gabriel did after? He did the my bad.
It's like, shit.
And then Corley, you see Corley is so pissed off. He was so frustrated. He's like throwing his hands up. He's like, "Oh my God, bro!"
Because
like,
he knew he had daylight.
He goes, "Dude, all you had to do is just throw it to my chest, and I'm gone." And you sail me by 5 feet. You sailed me. Like, how do you? And then, dude, the plays up the middle, the one to Jerry Jeudy where it's a 5-yard reception, spikes it 2 yards into the dirt. I'm like,
yeah,
he's wide open
early on in the game. Yeah,
he's wide open 5 yards in front of you, and you spike it into the dirt with no pressure. Like, what is going on, dude?
It almost feels like he's throwing games for us,
dude.
Like it feels like it.
I'm about to call the FBI and tell them this guy's been sports betting on these games so he can get off the team. Like, get this boy off. I'm about to call him Kevin Stefanski, like JW. Like these guys are all conspiring against the Browns. Like, it's insane. Like, how do you miss? And then the 4th and 1.
I was just gonna bring that up. I'm glad you did.
That was such a great call by Tommy Reese. And I was like, oh, dude, you got 3 people wide open. Decides to get sacked. They didn't even look at their way. Just decides to get sacked. Runs into us. I'm like, dude, you had 3 people wide open. How do you not see anybody? I mean, obviously you can't see over the line because you're about 2 feet tall.
I was going to say.
Like, dude, even if you just got it over the line, someone was right there for it. Like, oh my God, dude, it was mind-boggling. Like, I wasn't even mad about the play call. The play call was great. Like, I think Tommy Reese had some of the better play calls the other day, but you have no quarterback to execute those play calls.
Yeah.
Like the play calls, like, so many guys were wide open, and Gabriel just missed every single one. Whether it was a 5-yard dink and dunk pass where he underthrew it somehow by 3 yards, or, sailing a screen pass that was an easy touchdown. Dude, those are plays that you and I could make in those situations.
Yeah,
like, it's so crazy. And then for Kevin to come out after the game saying we're still sticking with Dylan.
Yeah, that's the first thing he says. Like,
do you want us to be tortured? Like, are you kidding me? Do you see who you play next? Yeah, Baltimore's not playing great football right now or this season, but you're gonna get killed. Like, it, and the worst part is too. Me and a couple of my buddies were gonna go to that game because we were hoping that was the game where Shador was gonna start.
Yeah,
and now we're kind of like reconsidering it because we don't want to watch Dylan Gabriel play.
No, dude, I wouldn't go to. Listen, I wouldn't go to a single Browns game anymore.
No,
I'm kind of at that point where I'm just like ready to kind of like
I'm
not
gonna.
protest them necessarily, but just like
You know what I'm
I
gonna
don't want to give
do?
them my money.
I'm gonna just go to the game and take like a sledgehammer, and just start immediately tearing down the stadium, tearing down seats. Like
Right? Just get a
I'm gonna
head start on it.
just get a head start on it. I'm gonna go to the locker room while everyone's in there and just start breaking lockers and just being
Yeah.
like, all right, like we're done here. And like we're not gonna play football. I'd rather not watch this team play football for 4 years until
Yeah.
the new stadium is built. And just be like, sorry guys, listen, I'm gonna bring a shovel. And I'm gonna start digging up the field and just being like, all right, good luck trying to play on this shit now. You're not going to be able to play when there's 9 feet of hole in the middle of the field.
Right.
So good luck with that. Like, it's so frustrating, dude, to watch a
Oh.
5'9" quarter. Like the quarterback is tall as me, dude. That's not a
The
good
Pee
thing.
Wee team that showed up during or like before the game was almost as tall as him.
Dude, and that's the thing too. Is like
That's how bad it is.
I'm 5'10", 5'11". I don't think he's as tall as me. I think he's shorter than
I
me.
think because I'm about 5'8" with shoes on. All right, I'm a short king, but I'm also not playing NFL quarterback.
Me
Okay,
neither.
um, and I'll tell you what, I could probably stare at him face to face, and he would probably be my height. It's incredible that the Browns still use these analytics to justify putting
Yeah.
a a guy that physically like, dude, what have I been saying all year long? He may be smart. He may technically know the playbook. Like he may have it down pat. I still don't think he does, but he may. But he's never going to be able to overcome his physical capabilities or lack thereof.
Due to his height.
At least Shador, you can teach him the playbook. You can
Mhm.
teach him those things. He still has the mechanics. He still has the size, and it's not like he's a big guy. He's 6'1.5", I think, but still, it's big enough.
Yeah,
Like
he can see over the line.
as long as you're about 6'1" to 6'3", generally speaking, most NFL quarterbacks are going to be just fine at that height.
Yep.
Um, and then you get guys that are like, Josh Allen that are like 6'5", but like those guys are also unicorns. Like those guys are freaks. Lamar Jackson, I think, is like what 6 or 6'1", I think. So it's not like he's tall. I mean, he's not a big guy either, but he still has success consistently in the NFL. And it's just like, why do the Browns always take the worst guy that you could possibly take and then try to justify it and sell it to us and think that it was the smart move? It's like nothing was smart about that. You spent a third round pick on a guy that probably was going to go undrafted. And at this rate, he definitely was going to go undrafted. Like if you were really going to burn a pick like that, at least go get Will Howard. Like you could have at least gotten somebody that proved something in college and at least like has size so you can teach him other things, but his physical capabilities will still put him in enough of a spot to do well. Like I said, I'm convinced that Stefanski would rather get freaking canned than ever put Shador out there. And it's going to come to a point where he's going to get canned. Like, if this season keeps going the way it does, I think, Haslam is going to finally blow a gasket. But the one thing that I do want to add to this, too, is I almost wonder if Haslam is kind of scared to sort of step in after all of these years, all of the screw ups that he's had, all the bad, head coaches that he has had. I wonder if he's scared to kind of make that choice again because of how many times it failed. But when it's not clearly working, you can't continue to justify 2 head coach of the year awards when both of those years, one was a fluky year in COVID, and 2023 was the luckiest year that any coach could have ever gotten. Like, Stefanski had a top 5 defense and just a good enough team to somehow score points in a field goal kicker that made everything that he shot up until he got hurt. Stefanski got lucky that year because as soon as we got destroyed by Houston, we all knew, like, oh wow, like this thing isn't that good. The Joe Flacco mania would soon come to an end. Um, and then you trade Flacco to an in-division rival, and he's throwing up 40 points a game with the Bengals because he's got guys to throw to. He's got a roster around him enough to at least give him a chance. The Browns don't even have that. So now that's also on Andrew Berry as well. So again, we keep having to say the same things in everybody in the Browns fandom, all of these podcasters, all of these media members, we're saying the same things every week. And yet there's not a damn thing being changed. What gives? When is the point where we are going to finally say, okay, this needs to change. This is not going to work at its current pace, and it won't even if you have better players. Stefanski is not going to do it. He needs to change his scenery. If he ends up doing well somewhere else, great for him. If he wants to go to New York, great. If you want to go to Tennessee, great. I don't care, dude. Like you're still the same guy, and you still make the same mistakes. And it really doesn't matter where he goes. Everybody's gonna know how to defend him. Everybody's gonna know what his play calling is, and it's not gonna go well unless he gets handed a place where they have just unlimited weapons and unlimited potential. The Browns don't have that. They need to start from scratch. They need to start from ground zero, because they need a whole staff that is on the same page of who is going to be our quarterback and what are the directions that we need to strategize the most for. Because you need O-line, you need receivers, you need a quarterback. You need to see what's going on defense when it comes to corner. Because beyond Tyson Campbell is a great pickup, that's great, and he's there for the next 4 years. But who knows what happens with Ward in the next year or two? And then beyond that, who else do you have? You have obviously you have Delpit and Hickman on the backside, but dude, if Ward goes down, this defense is in a world of hurt if Ward goes down. And fortunately, he hasn't yet. But it's only a matter of time because of his injury proneness that he has. And again, you're just wasting another year with Myles Garrett having another incredible season, probably going to be a front runner for defensive player of the year again. And yet it's all wasted for nothing over a coach that's in way over his head, with a owner that only really cares about getting this dome built. And it's frustrating and it's demoralizing as a fan base because you want things to change. You're so passionate about it, and yet nobody's listening. And we're just sitting here kind of just stuck in this loop of talking about it with no changes ever being made.
And I think that's what the biggest proponent for me was for the stadium to not be built, was the fact that you're going to drive up prices to make us watch a team that's going to go 3 wins. Like, you don't care about the team. You just care about the money, and and that's all you care about. You don't give a damn about this team. You don't care about winning football games. And that's why the Browns will forever be the Browns. That's the last few owners. That's the last few GMs. They don't care about winning. They just care about getting paid. They're just going there, working and leaving. They're not there to build something. Yeah. And the thing is like, that was the difference. Once we had John Dorsey walk into the building, I thought that was the turnaround. I was like, finally, a guy who loves football, a guy who loves to win, a guy who has a knack for seeing things that others don't.
Yep.
And you drove him away because he wanted a head coach in Dan Campbell who was going to run the rock and utilize Nick Chubb to his full potential, because the fucking Paul DePodesta thought it was a grand idea just to follow statistics and we should pass more.
Yeah.
And so you went with a pass first coach in Freddie Kitchens because you knew he was going to do what you would say. So it was insane that we could have had John Dorsey still and Dan Campbell as our coach. And this team probably looks a lot different. This team probably looks like the Detroit Lions right now, where we're winning football games left and right, and we're making consistent postseasons. We were making runs towards the Super Bowl. We've at least made it to an AFC championship game. it blows my mind that you were that close right there,
Yeah.
and you pissed it all away because you wanted to listen to JW and Paul DePodesta for some reason, and now DePodesta's gone finally, thank Christ. Um, it's a wonder because, like you said, this team needs to go through something. The defense, the defense could win you games, or the defense could keep you in games all year.
Yeah.
The defense is built for success. The only thing that needs fixing is the offense. And if you were to say, "Hey, we're going to see what Shador has. If plays well enough and he's the man for the job, cool. That saves us from drafting a quarterback in this coming draft. We can then go out maybe in the first round, double up on wide receiver, or go wide receiver tackle.
Right.
But you make this draft class just almost offensive focused of just stacking receivers and tackles and getting obviously a few defensive pieces here and there.
Yeah.
But now you're looking at, well, if we're going to continue to stick with Gabriel for the rest of the year and not see what Shador has and potentially maybe even get rid of him, now you have to lose every game, become the first overall pick, draft Mendoza, somehow, some way, come up in the draft board a little bit and snag a guy like Carnell Tate. And then the next 2 rounds basically got to be all offensive tackle and O lineman because you need that severely.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot harder of a build. And if you see what Shador has, that might make the build a lot easier and a lot less stressful. And hey, you might not have to sit through the next 3-4 years or so and wasting guys like Ward, Miles, some other these people, and you don't have to waste them.
Yeah.
You could be like, okay, cool. With the rookie quarterback like Mendoza, we might be able to be average for a season. And if he's really truly good, okay, now we're competitive after next year. But you have to, and I'm going to keep reiterating this, you have to see what you have in Shador first. And Kevin Stefanski's committing malpractice by saying we're just sticking with Dylan Gabriel. Why? Because you wanted him in the draft and you're trying to save your job? Dude, you're gone already, bucko. Like, you're not saving your job. Dylan was supposed to be your saving grace, and you knew once he struggled, it's over for you. It is done. Like, they're already talking about on Thursday or Monday Night Football about Kevin potentially going elsewhere, or where would Kevin fit next? Who do you bring in as replacement? Do you go to North Carolina and ask Bill Belichick for his job back from the 90s? Do you go after Kubiak from Minnesota? Do you go after some of these other guys who run kind of like a similar system, but might be actual better head coaches? So I think Kevin is committing a lot of malpractice by just saying we're sticking with Dylan. And the thing is, that could just be, we know Kevin, that could just be a load of crap anyways, and they're maybe prepping for Shador Sanders to start on Sunday in secret to kind of maybe surprise the Ravens, like, oh, by the way, we're starting Shador.
Yeah, maybe.
But
I
we
wish.
know how that's the hope, and we wish, yeah, for sure. But again, this has to be the last game. If Gabriel does play start, this has to be it. This has got to be it. Because this is what, game number 6 with him or 7? And
well, no, I think this will be game 6 for him. Yeah, so it was just 5.
So, because I'm trying to think of what Joe started at 3, and then we traded him.
Yeah, he started against the Vikings.
Yeah. And so I think Miles said there's like 8 games left in the season. So if this is game number 6, this is it, man. Because then you got to at least give the last 7 to Shador, because you're giving them at least the same time frame.
Yeah.
So if Gabriel does start, this has to be the final game he plays in. And I think in my personal opinion, I think if he's playing bad by halftime, what
Yeah.
do you get? I'd say toss him in at halftime. What do you
Yeah,
have to
what are you
lose in
gonna
that
lose?
game? Especially if you're getting beat. What more do you have to lose?
Yeah.
See what Shador has. See if he can't maybe lead a comeback and make the game close, or see what he can do.
Yeah.
But I can't sit here next Tuesday, recording this episode, the next episode, after we lose to the Ravens and Gabriel plays the entire game, and Kevin comes out after the game and says, "Yeah, we're still sticking with Gabriel."
Yeah.
I will lose my mind, and
I think
it might be the most vulgar episode we've ever had on this podcast, because
yeah.
not nice words are going to be said on this show
No.
on next Tuesday if we hear Gabriel got blown out by 30 and we're going to stick with him again for the next game.
No.
Dog, you just lost the Jets, who are tanking, and you lost to them. I mean,
Yeah.
Justin Fields didn't even have 50 passing yards. Like, that is unreal. I think there's a stat that I showed to my dad on Sunday when I was bowling, and it was teams are 275-0 in the NFL when the opposing quarterback has thrown for less than like 50 yards. The Browns are the only exception, and then the only team that lost. Like, are you joking me? Like, Bubba Ventrone, get the hell off this team. Stefanski, you can go too.
Yeah.
Callie Bronson and the other, I think the head receivers, because I forget his name off the top of my head right now. You guys can go. Like, it's so bad, dude. Like, I'm gonna freak out if we get killed on Sunday and Gabriel plays the whole game and Stefanski says Gabriel starting next week, the next game. I'm going to lose my mind, dude. It's going to be over for this. I'm going to lose my mental.
Yeah.
I can't do it again.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It's getting to a point where it's just the definition of insanity. We keep doing the same thing over and over again. We keep saying the same thing over and over again. The Browns continue to make the same mistakes over and over again. You know, one play that we didn't even really talk about was basically the play to sort of seal the deal with the Jets. It was like a 4th and 3 or a 4th and 4, and they decided to do a hard count. Stefanski is literally saying, guys, do not jump. They are going hard count. And what do? We jump offside to seal the deal. And then you get a Jets player literally sitting there dancing and celebrating because we fell for it like a bunch of idiots.
Yep.
This team is so undisciplined all throughout, from the special teams to the offense to the defense. Everybody on this team is so damn incompetent, and they are so undisciplined. They don't care. This is what the Browns felt like when we were in high school or even middle school, where it was just like they don't give a damn who's out there. They don't give a damn what happens. It was just the Browns was just the Browns. They were this team that everybody knew was always going to be bad. And then they started giving us some life after 2018, and you freaking ruined it. You ruined out. You threw out the one quarterback that actually had potential to do it. You didn't have the right head coach to believe in him, and as a result, he is now playing at an MVP level in Tampa. He is going to make great money for the next several years, and he's doing fine.
He might
He's
make a
doing
Super Bowl
great.
appearance.
Yeah, he might. I mean, the Bucks are still a solid team. I mean, they have a couple guys out, with the injury and stuff, but they're still playing good enough
They're still winning.
because they also put guys on their team that can actually make a difference.
Yep.
What has Andrew Berry done? What draft has he gotten right when it comes to receiver? Nothing. His best receiver that he has picked so far was Donovan Peoples-Jones in the 6th round a few years ago. He's not even on an NFL team right now, I don't think. Well, actually, no. I think he is on a practice squad for like the Saints or something. Okay, cool. He hasn't played in 2 years now, almost 3. That was the best guy that we had. He was a leading receiver for us at one point. Andrew Berry, I'm tired of the analytics. I'm tired of the smartest man in the room motto. I'm tired of it. You're not
Yep.
the smartest man in the room. You're a bad GM. You've put this team in a worse spot than you could have ever imagined after some incredible years in 18, 20, and 23. You just can't seem to get a team that can be consistent. And part of that also has to do with coaching. They all take the blame, and everybody, I'm going to keep that title. Fire everybody now because it's true. Fire every single coach except for Schwartz. If you want to keep Schwartz, that's fine. But honestly, even him at times has made this defense crack at times. It certainly hasn't been perfect. Like the Brees Hall run, that was a screen pass that should have gotten stopped behind the line, and it goes the distance.
Yeah.
It's again, it's undisciplined throughout, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this team. I'm ready for the season to be over. Thank God for the Cavaliers for being a competent team in Cleveland, along with the Guardians. But we're out. We're out of season. Also, shout out to Vogt for Manager of the Year. That's awesome. But yeah, man. I don't know anything else more you got to say about the Browns because at this point, I'd rather just get the predicts and get it moving.
Yeah, I just want to say a quick shout out to Stephen Vogt for back-to-back Manager of the Year awards. I mean, I think he is the first manager in the MLB in his first 2 consecutive seasons to win Manager of the Year. Well deserved. I mean, he's the guy who managed to save our season this year when we all thought we were done and dusted in the middle of the year. He led a massive comeback and won the division once again. So well deserved. And I sent the voting to you and Sean, and he won by like 20 votes, like 25 votes. Like he won in a landslide. So
that's freaking awesome too.
So shout out to Stephen Vogt, and hopefully he can keep that momentum going into next season.
Hell yeah.
So let's get into these predicts.
Yes, sir.
Let me share my screen. All right. So we only got 2 teams on a bye. We have the Colts and the Saints on a bye week. Zach, where we left off from last week, I finished 8-6. You finished 9-5. So you beat me by 1. The outlier was the Baltimore Minnesota game. I had Minnesota. You had Baltimore. Also, I got the New England Tampa Bay game right. I had New England. You had Tampa Bay. But again, the other outlier was the Chargers Steelers game. I had the Pittsburgh Steelers. You had the Chargers, and that's the one that did me in. Was that game? So shout out to you. You got one more win than I did, and our total.
I needed it.
You needed it bad.
I did need it bad. I'm still down pretty big.
Not big. Not that much. The records are as follows. I am at 148-1. You are at 94-56-1. So you're off by 6 games. I could have an absolute awful week. But starting off these predicts with the New York Jets versus New England Patriots on Thursday Night Football.
If New England doesn't beat them by 20 points, I will be very, very upset. The Jets have zero business beating that, that Pats team. I think they're incredible. I mean, I know the Jets just came off a win, but it's not like it looked pretty. Had it not been for our special teams hiccups, the Jets would have lost by probably 10 points in that game. So yeah. New England should win that game pretty convincingly.
Yeah, I had New England. It should be almost a blowout type game. Like it shouldn't be close. Moving to the 9:30 a.m. game on Sunday in Madrid, Spain at the Santiago Bernabeu. It is the Washington Commanders at Miami Dolphins.
I'm gonna go Miami. They really impressed me against the Bills. They're starting to kind of get something going. Like Mike Daniels is finally getting them to play some sort of ball, which is surprising because I thought they were dead in water. But I really don't trust Washington right now. They don't have Daniels. They don't have a run game. Their defense has given up tons of points. It's just not one of them games that I trust. Well, like Washington to be in, but it is Miami and it is Tua. Tua could go back to concussion protocol type Tua, and throw three interceptions. So we don't know, but I'm gonna go Miami here just because of the current state of both teams, really.
Yeah, I went with Miami too, just like you said, the current state of both teams. Um, I mean, Miami played really well against Buffalo. They pretty much smashed Buffalo, which was kind of a big shock to everyone in the league.
Yeah.
But like you said, Washington doesn't have Jaden Daniels. They don't have a run game. They're starting to go downhill a little bit. I think Jaden Daniels is their savior. And without him, they're just basically nothing. And Miami has looked really good the last couple of weeks, so we'll give that game to Miami. Moving to the 1 o'clock games, we have Houston at Tennessee.
Houston should win the game. I just really don't see the Titans being able to do much against that Houston defense. And whether it's Stroud or Bills, I think they're both playing well enough to do it. But I'll tell you what, Mills is kind of impressed me. He's
Mhm.
playing some good ball, and so really, if he plays, I would definitely say them 100%. But again, dude, I just don't trust the Titans. The Titans are as of right now statistically the worst team in the league. So not much to say about them, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Mills or Stroud, this should just be Houston easily. Like there's Tennessee's kind of in the same boat as Cleveland. They just have zero hope right now.
Yeah.
Um, so I can't see anything happening in this game besides Houston winning. NFC North matchup, a big rivalry. Chicago Bears at Minnesota.
I like Chicago here.
Okay.
Chicago is on a little bit of a heater, as of late. And again, dude, I'm not sold on JJ McCarthy. Like he's not impressive to me. He's got some guys to throw to, but even last week, he just didn't look good enough, and obviously they lost the game because of it. Again, I just don't trust his capabilities enough. I don't think he's a very good passer, and at least for this season, I don't have a lot of faith in him. And again, Chicago's on a heater. Like they're what 6-3 right now.
Yeah.
Uh, Ben Johnson has them rolling. So I just I just think that offense is better off than Minnesota. So I'm gonna go Chicago.
Yeah, I went with Chicago too. They've been really impressive lately. Um, they had a huge comeback from behind win yesterday, or not yesterday, on Sunday against the Giants. So they looked really, really good. Caleb Williams in that game as well. So you give me the Chicago Bears. And then you got another fun NFC South matchup. You have the Carolina Panthers versus the Atlanta Falcons.
The Panthers just came off a really bad loss to the Saints.
Hmm.
Atlanta is at home here. I think Atlanta should win this game. Not easily, but I think that they'll play a lot better. Like Drake London has been going off every week, but Bijan had a pretty slow game last week. I think they get back to him, and he has a pretty big game against Carolina.
Yeah, this was a tough one because Atlanta right now is on a 4-game losing streak. And I think the only thing that's stopping me from not picking Carolina is the fact that Carolina is not good on the road. Now, if this was Carolina at home, I'd probably pick the Panthers to win. But since it is Atlanta at home, I'm going to go with Atlanta just because
Yeah,
they're a solid home team. So I would have to give it to them. Packers at the Giants.
yeah. This is going to be a weird one because the Packers are not playing good right now.
No.
They just lost one of the most boring games last night I've ever watched. But New York just fired Dabble. I don't think that you're going to get Dart because I think he's still in protocol.
He's still in
So I
protocol.
so I think regardless of that, I think Green Bay should get back to business and they should win this game. So I am just gonna go ahead and just go with Green Bay here.
Yeah, I went with Green Bay, even though they just lost a boring game to Philly. Um, like you said, the deciding factor for me was the fact that Jackson Dart's in protocol and they just fired Brian Dable, so you don't really know what's going to happen. Because Russ, every time Russ has stepped onto the field, he has not looked good.
Yeah.
He has looked really, really bad. Honestly, I think Jameis Winston should be the secondary quarterback behind Jackson
I
Dart at this
think
point.
I think Jameis should be starting this game over Russ.
Yeah, if Dart doesn't play, I think this should be a Jameis Winston game. I think he gives you the better chance of winning. Um, but the Packers, if it's Russ Wilson, the Packers should be able to win this game, especially too because the Packers defense is getting back to where it was supposed to be. Chargers at Jacksonville.
I'm going Chargers here. The Chargers are getting back to business. They're starting to look a little bit, a little bit better. I don't know, the injuries for Jacksonville are starting to pile up. Travis Hunter just got season-ending surgery today. I know Brian Thomas has been kind of banged up. I don't know what his status is, but they've kind of slowed down quite a bit and looked human again, which is good for us. And so between the fact that I've just been a huge fan of Herbert this year, I think I got to go Chargers.
Yeah, I went with the Chargers too. Like you said, they got him back to business against the Steelers. They looked really well against Pittsburgh. Um, Jacksonville, the injury bug's starting to catch up with him. Like you said, Brian Thomas is kind of dealing with some lingering things. Travis Hunter went down with the season-ending surgery, so things are starting to pile up for Jacksonville, and this should just be a nice Chargers win here.
Yeah.
All right, AFC North matchup: Bengals at Steelers.
The Steelers should win this game. I mean, it's in their home field. So I mean, Flacco's going to give it his best shot, but I think A-Rod's going to come out a little pissed off. Although they have been slowing down a bit, but the Steelers are just a weird team. Like they're either really really good or really really bad. Like they beat the Colts in the previous week and then lost this week. Really bad game against the Chargers. So yeah, I think only because they're at home, I'm going Steelers.
Yeah, that's the reason why I went with the Steelers too, only because they're at home. Um, even though they lost to the Chargers, I mean, it was still hard fought for a while. But other than that, the Bengals just, unless it was Joe, I mean, Joe Flacco, like you said, is going to give it his best. But if Joe Burrow is starting this game, I think it'll be a different story. And again, the only thing that kills it for me for the Bengals is that their defense is the worst in the NFL. Their defense is absolutely atrocious, and they're probably going to lose Trey Hendrickson after the year is over. So that defense is going to look a lot worse unless they do some big upgrades in the draft coming up. Which, knowing the Bengals, are probably just going to load up on more wide receivers, and that's about all they're going to do because they don't go for offensive linemen, they don't go for defense, they just go for wide receivers who are talented. That's all they do.
All right.
So I'll take the Steelers. Also, before I could move on, I did notice the AFC North is the only division with a negative where everyone has a negative point differential.
That's lovely.
So just a fun little statistic there. Tampa Bay at Buffalo. This is gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good one. I think that the Bills come out pissed off. They're at home. I think the Bills win in a shootout. I think this game is gonna have a good bit of scoring. Tampa has been able to squeak out some games. Egbuka has obviously looked incredible, but again, they're down a few guys, so they're not in great shape. And again, I think the Bills just came out and just laid a stinker, against Miami, and I don't think that will last. I think again they're going to come out pissed off, and I expect the Bills to win this game in a shootout.
Yeah, I had a hard time picking this game. I ultimately went to Buffalo just because it is a home game. And with obviously how cold it's been getting here in Cleveland, it's going to get probably stupid cold on Sunday in Buffalo. and I wouldn't be surprised if there's snow in the forecast or something too. So something's going to be affecting that Buffalo area. So I went with Buffalo just because now that it's starting to get colder. This is where Buffalo plays their best football, and it's hard to win in Buffalo when it starts to get freezing cold out. San Francisco at Arizona.
This is a weird one. This game can go either way. Like San Francisco is not playing that great, but I think that was Mac Jones's last game. I think you're finally going to see Brock Purdy. If so, I think I'm going to take San Fran. Arizona, after playing a really good game against the Cowboys the week prior, they threw up an absolute stinker. But granted, they also played, I would say, one of the better teams in the league overall, which is Seattle. And so I get why they lost. I think this game will be a lot closer because San Fran is also very beat up. And I honestly really won't be surprised if Arizona ends up squeaking this one out. But I'm going to go San Fran because they still have a little bit more talent in their favor.
Yeah, I went with San Fran just because we heard the news that this is the game that Brock Purdy is most likely going to come back in and play in. And with that too, I'm sure Pearsall might come back at the same exact time as well. If that's the case, I have to give it to San Francisco. Like you said, now is the time that the San Francisco weapons are returning from injury. I think they're getting Fred Warner back soon too, in the next couple weeks, which will really help that defense. And if it is Brock Purdy starting on Sunday, this gives the 49ers offense a huge boost.
Yeah.
And so I think that'll be the difference maker. So I'm going to take San Francisco. Seattle at the Rams, another really, really good game here.
This is going to be, I actually think this one's going to be game of the week.
Yeah.
Personally. Like, I think this game's going to be the more fun one, besides the one that's just below that. This game is going to be fun. This is a really hard pick.
This is a tough pick.
I think I'm going to go Seattle here because of just how great they have been on defense as well. And obviously Sam Darnold's been on he's almost at a MVP level this year, which is insane that we're even saying that in 2025. But Sam Darnold's playing some good ball, but so is Matt Stafford. Both teams are playing some really good ball. And man, actually, you know what? I'm going Rams. They're at home. I'm going to give Stafford the shot, and I wanted to switch it up because we've been kind of doing the same picks each time, so switch it up.
Yeah, and it's a good thing you did because I went with Seattle because
there we go.
Like you said, for Seattle, Sam Darnold has looked like an MVP caliber quarterback. That defense has looked insane. I think they're number 2 or number 3 behind Cleveland, who has the number 1 defense right now in the league. It just blows me away that Seattle's this good this year. I thought they were going to be average, like 500 level or whatnot, and still make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They look insane, but so do the Rams, dude. I have Matt Stafford in our Dynasty League. That dude has been dropping buckets for me and dropping points. So I like what the Rams are doing. They obviously have guys coming back, like Puka Nacua is back and stuff like that. So that helps them tremendously. This is going to be a hard-fought game, but I think Seattle can edge it out. Kansas City at Denver.
Yeah, this is a fun one.
This is a fun one.
Denver's been on a win streak. They're like, I think they're tied for the best overall record in the NFL right now. This is going to be a really tough one because it's always hard to pick against the Chiefs. But I mean, Denver's been playing some hot ball. Oh man. This is a tough one.
I already picked my team who I went with.
I'm going Denver. They're at home. But they got to do it.
Me and you picked the same. I went with the Denver Broncos.
They just always play KC the best. They even last year they played them well in both games that they played.
That was my thought process, is that they've always played Kansas City really good, especially in Denver. And I was looking at the standings earlier. Denver's on a 7-game win streak. So you're right. They're on a massive win streak. They're on a 7-game heater, and they're one of only 2 teams in the NFL who are undefeated at home. They are 5-0 at the Empower Field at Mile High. And I think that's what did it in for me too, is that they're undefeated at home. Their defense at home is unstoppable. And Bo Nix just plays so good in Denver and so good at home. So I'm going to take the Denver Broncos.
Woohoo!
This one should be an easy one. Baltimore at Cleveland.
I'm gonna make a statement here now, just to like hold myself accountable. I am not going to vote for the Browns to win a single game for the rest of the year. And even if they do win another game this year, I still will never pick them. Even when they play the Titans or any of these other mid teams that they're getting ready to play, the Browns are never going to win it. They probably won't win again. The Ravens should beat us, although because we are at home, I'm telling you, it's going to end up being a weirdly close game. Like for whatever reason, we just always play them better at home. We somehow beat them last year in that last minute Hail Mary against Winston. If we win this game, it's because Shadur comes in the second half and just unloads and whooshes us to victory. But other than that, the Ravens should honestly beat us again, like 40 to 14. Like it should be
Yeah.
a dominant win, but because we're at home, I still think it'll be close just because we're dumb like that.
Yeah, I went with the Ravens. Just like you said, it should be just a blowout. And I'm glad you said what you said about not picking the Browns ever again all season, because that was going to be my same sentiment, was saying I'm never going to pick the Browns for the rest of the year unless Shador does start. Then I might sneak the Browns winning against like the Raiders next week, or like them playing against Tennessee. Then I might give the Browns the benefit of the doubt. But from here on out, I cannot pick the Cleveland Browns to win another football game. As long as Gabriel starts, I can't pick them. So
yeah, it's impossible to pick them.
Yeah, give me the Ravens. This is gonna be a weird game, but maybe a fun one. Detroit at Philly.
Oh, I'm going Detroit. I'm riding the hot hand. Like they played outstanding this week. The Eagles are just a weird team. Like their defense, obviously they are what they are, but I don't think they can really keep up with a team like Detroit. Because when Detroit's on, man, they're a very hard team to beat. And I also just deep down I always have to root for Detroit because I'm such a Dan King like a Dan Campbell fan. I really am. I love how he coaches and what could have been for the Browns had we had him on our team.
Yeah, I went with the Detroit Lions too, just for the fact that, like you said, they're playing some really good ball, and I just like Dan Campbell the way he coaches games. He's always super aggressive, and I think that's what keeps Detroit in a lot of games and wins a lot, is that he's super aggressive with his play calls. And Philly just did not convince me against Green Bay, nor did they convince me 2 weeks ago when they barely squeaked out a win against the Vikings. So for me, they haven't been overly convincing. I just have to go with Detroit because I think if this was like the NFC Championship matchup, I would have Detroit winning that too. So give me Detroit. And then the last game of the Sunday week, would be Monday Night Football. Dallas at Vegas.
Dallas should win this game. Las Vegas is not a good football team, man. Like their defense is all right, but they're kind of in the same boat as we are, in terms of just what they are. Like they have some pieces, but ultimately they just don't have enough on offense.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to Geno Smith. I think he thinks he's playing with the Jets again because he has just done a horrible job there, and I think that really might actually mean that Clint Kubiak is just a really good coordinator because that dude had him playing at a Pro Bowl level, and now that he's in the Raiders, he's seeing ghosts. It's wild. So Dallas should win this game.
Yeah, I went with Dallas as well because, like you said, this is a game where the Vegas Raiders look like the Browns. Defense is the same; they're really good and stacked, but the offense just sucks. And Kubiak is my front runner for the Kevin Stefanski replacement. If
Yes,
that were to
been my guy
happen,
too.
I would love to have someone like Kubiak as the head coach. I think he'd be really, really good, especially if you either had Shador or like Mendoza playing. I think those guys would thrive under a Kubiak offense.
100%.
And so would Quishon Judkins too. Like Judkins would thrive in that kind of offense. So
Yeah.
But yeah, give me Dallas because again, that offense outside of basically Ashton Genty is awful. And they traded away Jacoby Myers too.
Yeah.
So I'll take Dallas. And that's the predicts.
That's it.
Before we go, guys, check out our sponsor, Effortless Wins, for sports betting advice in place to boost your wins. Talk to Tony or Greg. The links will be in the description in Spotify or in the comment on YouTube. Man, we're getting to the midst of the NFL season. We're right in the middle. Now's the time. I mean, we got Thanksgiving in a couple weeks, so Thanksgiving football is going to be fun to bet on. You have Black Friday right after that, so obviously, if you want to go shopping for your kids or shopping for yourself or a loved one, and you want to use some of that betting money, well, now is a chance to earn that money and get some money up so you can get those gifts. So, talk to Tony or Greg. We got NHL season that just started a month ago. We've just started college basketball a couple of days ago, so college basketball is officially back. So a lot to bet on nowadays in sports in this time period. You got a lot of basketball and you got a lot of hockey and you got a lot of college basketball. So now is the time to get on the grind, get those kids that PS5 that they want for Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's time to roll.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. I mean, they are the real deal. They know what they are talking about. So make sure you go ahead and check the boys out. Yeah, man, that's pretty much going to do it for us. As we're getting ready to log off, I just want to note Deshaun Watson also posted another Instagram thing. So I'm telling you, MKC is on the Browns payroll. There ain't no freaking way, because she's the only one that keeps talking about Deshaun Watson. He could very well come back at any point.
Yeah, she gets paid by the Browns.
I swear she has to. There's no way she doesn't. Like, she's definitely on the Haslam Sports Group payroll. There's just no way around it. She's the only one that is like almost rooting for this to happen. And at this point, it's probably gonna happen. Like, it's almost one of those things where we might see him before we see Shador. And if that happens, I'm playing in freaking traffic on 76. Dude. I'm playing Frogger.
Yeah,
because I can't do it, man.
I'm gonna go to 90 or 480 and doing that.
Yeah, I can't. It's ridiculous. So, But yeah, man, that's pretty much gonna do it for us. We'll see you guys next week with hopefully some positive Cavs news. We might even talk a little bit of Ohio State. I know it's been kind of like a weird few weeks because they're just kind of beating the crap out of everybody.
Yeah.
But we're getting closer and closer to the game. So prep up.
Might have to live stream that ready. Again.
Yeah, 100%. Like, as long as I'm not doing anything that game, I'll have to see which day that is. But it's coming up soon. So stay tuned for that, because you guys know every year we do it big on the game. So until then, we'll see y'all next time.